Welcome to episode 12 of the Derek Smith Spiel, and today I'm here with a three-sport athlete, Ayden Miller.
Yo, what's up?
He keeps it real. So you're a three-sport athlete. What's your favorite sport?
Definitely football.
Football. You play football, you wrestle, and you play baseball.
Yeah.
What is your primary position in football?
I'm a tight end, and I did play outside linebacker, but this year I'm moving to defensive end.
How do the tryouts work? Because I remember, I think it was in 8th or 9th grade, you were a quarterback. Mm-hmm. So do each position, because we're combined with 3 schools, do you kind of try out each year?
Really, the coaches have a game plan going into it, who's going in one spot, and just kind of like a game plan of the lineup. But we move stuff around depending on how a person's doing at a position. So it's really all just coach's discretion really much. There's not tryouts.
So it's not so much player run. It's just what the coach thinks is best for the team.
Yeah. Normally we have like a scout team and then our starting offense, and we run through, and if coaches see like our backup quarterback's doing better than our starting quarterback, we might switch the quarterbacks around just to see what's a better fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said you played tight end on offense. So are you more of a blocking tight end or a route running tight end? What's
our offense? Yeah, I'd say, because our offense is run first, so I definitely have my fair share of blocks. So I'm doing that most of the game. But being run first, everyone's sitting on the run, so I feel like it's a more tight end based pass system, just kind of dump off routes to the tight end. So yeah. I get a lot of receptions and a lot of yards most games.
How big of a threat is a tight end in a red zone, just because it's so versatile? Or is it not so much, you don't really draw up plays for players in high school, do you?
I'd say a tight end in the red zone is probably the second most like threatening player, because obviously it's the run. You want to run it up the middle to get into the end zone. But if you're going to pass, 9 times out of 10, the ball's going to the tight end, because it's just short routes that are dump off, get a couple cheap yards to get into the end zone.
Do you like being combined for football?
Yeah, because not so much with Warsaw because they had their own team in youth, but Perry, for Genesee Valley Bills, we were combined with them. So it's nice to be able to play with the people you've grown up with. And then as soon as you get to modified, you're playing with guys from Warsaw too. So it's just like, I don't know, it's just all your boys kind of.
Yeah. You've never had to it feels like you've been with the same team forever. You've never really had to meet new people or anything like that.
Yeah, and
that's pretty nice.
You got that chemistry from when you were young, so it never really left. You just grew up with the same guys.
How much were you a tight end when you were younger too, or how many positions have you changed?
When in youth, I used to be a center, then I went to guard, then I was a running back, and then modified, I was a quarterback, then switched to running back. JV, I went back to quarterback, then switched back to running back, and now in varsity, I'm a tight end.
So you've played all over the field.
Yeah.
What's your favorite position that you've played?
Definitely tight end.
Definitely tight end.
Yeah, quarterback's like fun. You get to throw the ball, you get to run it occasionally, but there's nothing better than just teeing off on someone on a block.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure being the quarterback too.
Yeah.
Is it difficult to remember all the plays?
Not really, because they're all like, in modified, you run the same playbook as you do in varsity. It's just on varsity you have more formations and stuff. Mm-hmm. So they teach you like base on modified, and then JV you get more in depth with the offense, and then by varsity it's just they're one-off plays to the same formation. So each play can be run either side, and then it's just the plays that they give us are named after certain things. So like 43 belly, that's belly right up the gut.
Okay.
So that's the 4-back, which is our fullback, up the 3-hole. And then belly nose, we go right up the gut. So there's just a lot of stuff that just tells you how the play goes. And like a lot of like GX, that means the guard, and both guards are pulling because one guard's G and the other one's X.
Is there much pre-snap motion? Do you guys call any audibles or?
We didn't call a lot of audibles last year, but the year before that we had a lot of, when we were in doubles and we were wanting to run, Chris would call an audible. We called it Harry, and that was
Yeah,
everyone just did a hitch, and that was normally just in the red zone. We only call audibles in the red zone normally.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to read a defense, or is it mostly man to man in high school, or not
Um,
necessarily?
Mostly yes, but the offense we run a zone, but we can switch to man. Normally that's also only in the red zone, but it's man to man, and for me at least, it's easy to read because high school kids, our coach says it all the time, high school players are dumb. They're going to stare right at who they got.
Yeah.
So you just kind of got to leak, and you got to find ways to get around this guy, but get him in front of the guy who's trying to guard you. So it's just all about finding open grass pretty much.
Yeah, which is really nice. As the only thing with that is it difficult as a tight end. Like if you're running maybe like an option route, like you fake the block, go out. Is it difficult to be on the same page as the quarterback, or not really? Because you just find a spot and stop.
No, it's our offensive coordinator and our quarterback, because we just run these plays perfect, and
Okay.
you have to be at this spot. So it's you and your quarterback. Once you hit a mesh, you know where you got to be. You know where he's going to throw the ball. A lot of routes that I run, the ball is out of his hand before I'm even finished with my route. Just so as soon as I finish, I get the ball. So it's very
So you don't stray from it; you just
yeah
go with it.
yeah.
That's a really efficient way of doing things. Um, so you had a really good wrestling season. The beginning of it, you what was the injury? It was a knee injury.
Yeah, I tore my MPFL in my
Your
knee.
MPFL, is that like on the outside?
Yeah, hold your kneecap in place pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like I'm not making this is one thing I actually wanted to touch on with you, because I've never heard you make excuses for yourself. But you really would have had a shot at a sectional title this year. Just unfortunate timing and severity of an injury. What was the recovery like for the MPCL?
It wasn't just a little physical therapy, not much. The recovery wasn't bad. It was mostly just like the mental state. Because you just like I thought I was gonna have a good year, and it just kind of it sucks knowing that you could have had a good year, but you don't know how it was gonna play out. But I just had to be there for the rest of the team and show up and just support and focus on the team more than myself.
What did you do to stay in like a good mental space?
Well, it was easy because I was a junior, so I can always think I have one more year.
Yeah.
And I just think about myself as the team's bigger than me, so I'm not the team. The team's the bigger goal. So you just got to be there for your teammates and not think about yourself.
Where do you think that mindset started?
Probably from football again, because football is an 11-man game. It's 11 of your guys versus 11 of theirs, and not one person's going to win you a ball game. So you just gotta think about the team. And sometimes, like, remember that play when Todd Gurley stopped at the 1 yard line to save his team?
Yeah.
It's just like that. You just gotta think about the team more than yourself.
It would have been really easy to stat chase, just go into the end zone, but that was a smart play. With an injury, how do you describe the shock and like anxiety waiting for the news?
I've had my fair share, so I've experienced a couple different ways. Like when I hurt my ankle in football, I knew something was bad. I was just hoping that it wasn't anything that was going to require surgery, because that's like my biggest fear is getting surgery, because a lot of stuff can go wrong. But I just try and do my best to keep my mind off of the bad and just think about the good.
Yeah.
And my parents help me out with that a lot too, where all I think about is just when I'm going to get back, what I'm going to do to get myself back to where I was, lift, stretch, everything like that, pretty much.
Yeah, the physical therapy, that's a huge part. Go into the it's different for each injury, but go into like the general basis of physical therapy.
Normally the first time I get there, they just do an evaluation, ask what goes on, stuff like that. And then a lot of times, since I play 3 sports, they more focus on like the explosion part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I do a lot of like box jumps, like agility, stuff like that, and not so much weightlifting as much as it's like putting stress on my knee to build more muscle around the part that was hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you ever? So you were injured on one leg. Did you learn a lot of singular leg lifts like split
Yeah.
squats, or you showed me pistol squats one day?
Yeah. Yeah. We did pistol squats, leg extensions, but it was mostly upper body that I did because lower body is kind of hard to do with just one leg because you
Right.
don't want them to be uneven. So it was mostly just upper body, like back, chest, shoulders, stuff like that.
When you're on crutches, what what was the thing you missed most?
About being on
Yeah,
crutches?
about being on crutches, because you missed some really simple things, like just standing and talking to your friends. You're like, I
Yeah.
wish I could stand. Is there anything that sticks out?
Probably like when you're going to hang out with your friends and they're like playing basketball or playing catch with the football, you just kind of like just the small things that you just can't do at that time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, roughing it is fun, but it's not the same. What's the most difficult injury news you received, or the most difficult injury you went through?
Definitely my ankle in ninth grade. I was playing
Yeah,
football.
go into the details on that. That one
Yeah.
was crazy.
So I was playing football and I got tackled and I like felt it wasn't like immediate pain, but it was like just creeping. And I looked down and my whole foot was backwards. And I didn't know what was going on. So they took me to the hospital and they just told me that it was a high ankle sprain. And they just said, yeah.
just a high ankle sprain. It'll
Yeah.
straighten out.
Yeah. So then we went to the orthopedics and I tore every ligament in my ankle and I broke my talus bone, which supplies the blood flow to your foot. And the doctor told me if I would have fully broke that, I would have never been able to play sports again.
How far off were you from that? Like from fully breaking it?
I was 1 millimeter away.
1 millimeter away.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
How could you feel pain as soon as that happened, or was your adrenaline so high it took a while to set in?
Yeah, it's definitely like that because adrenaline, especially when I'm playing football, it's an all-time max. Like a lot of stuff I don't feel during the game, and then in the locker room when you're taking off your pads, you're like, oh, I didn't know I had that. You got a bruise or a giant scratch, or you didn't even realize you were bleeding or something like that. But the adrenaline during football is just so high. That's why I think wasn't immediate pain. It just kind of like crept up the more the adrenaline wore off.
Yeah. Has there been a moment in football where, like, maybe you'll see something on a movie or you'll be watching sports and it's hard to describe, but it's just this team unifying moment that you kind of dream to be in? Has there ever been a moment like that in your football career? Like just a hype locker room or anything like that? Singing on the bus, I hear. Don't you guys do that a lot?
Yeah, we sing on the bus, but I think the most hype thing is not so much our halftime, because our halftime is just coach going over what we're seeing on the field because he's not out there and asking us what can we do differently to make certain plays work. But I would say probably Coach Mann before the game. He gets us all hype in the locker room. About every other game, he'll headbutt one of us with our helmet on. He's crazy, but that just gets us all hyped up, and we're just ready to go out there.
He gives us pregame speech. Is that what he does?
Yeah, a real good one.
Does he get fired up right in the middle?
Very. He starts like pushing people. Like, I don't know who gets more fired up, him or us.
He probably has an adrenaline rush on the sideline.
Yeah, he definitely does.
Can you? Random question. Can you challenge plays in high school or no?
No, you cannot, because there's no footage to go back and like rule.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
I bet he does not like that.
No.
Has he ever gotten fired up at a ref?
Yeah. He knows his limit, but there's been a couple times where another coach has gone over there and been like, all right. But he definitely gets fired up in the game because, I mean, from August to November, we're his boys. We're his family. He tells us that all the time, so he's willing to go to war for any of us.
And you have a lot of team dinners. Do you do that just about weekly or no?
Yeah, it's the day before every game we have. Either a mom or a family or a couple families will get food together and we'll have a team dinner. I think my mom held 2 of them this year, And we're actually starting to do that in baseball too. We had a couple team dinners.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It connects you guys on a whole other level when you do stuff like that.
Yeah. Like for football this year, we're going away to a camp in Perry, and it's a team bonding thing. So we have 2 days. That's 2 practices in one day.
So that's 4 hours of practicing about.
Yes, and with a 30-minute lunch in between. And so the practices, we're not going to have the 30-minute lunch, but we're going to do team bonding in between.
Okay.
And then after the second practice, we all, we're buddying up with someone from a different school that we're not friends with. So like not friends, but like not tight with.
Yeah.
So you just get more like team chemistry. And then we're doing a bunch of team building stuff after. We get the pool and everything. So I think that'll be good for the team.
That'll be fun. Because you know everyone on the team, but it's
you don't know them on a personal level.
Comfort groups too.
Yeah.
Bouncing back, when you have an injury like as extreme as your ankle, how do you regain trust and confidence in your ankle?
I don't think I really ever lost it because I don't let myself think that this is going to stop me from doing what I need to achieve.
Right.
So I just my dad was always asking me am I afraid to go back out there? And I tell him no, and I'm not lying to him or anything. I'm just, I don't think that I could play sports being afraid, being afraid of something. I can't live in fear. So if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I mean, I'd rather get hurt giving my all than not get hurt half-assing it.
That's in sports and really in everything. You can't it's normal to be scared and nervous, but you just gotta put it aside and go.
Yeah.
Just flip the switch.
Yeah.
And each person does it a different way.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like Coach Mann does it with pregame speeches. Yeah. And has he ever gotten a headache headbutting anyone's helmet?
I don't know. He won't tell us that. He probably doesn't even feel the headache through the adrenaline.
So when you have an injury, do you appreciate sports even more afterwards, after your recovery?
Definitely, because you're doing stuff, you're watching everything unfold that you wish you could be a part of, and you realize how blessed you are to be able to play the game every day. And there's some people out there that can't play that game, and you're just you look back and you're like, wow, I'm blessed.
Yeah. Yeah. And one more time, I want to hit on it. At least I've never heard you say, if I hadn't gotten injured, this would have happened. Just you never make excuses for yourself. Mm-hmm. You always take accountability. Your resilience is insane. It's something everyone should have.
Thank you.
I wish you luck for your senior year in every sport.
Thank you.
You have high goals, and you should. You're an athlete.
Thank you.
Now let's wrap this up on a more fun question. What's your favorite way to eat a potato?
Oh, this is tough.
This is tough.
I don't know. French fries or mashed potatoes, because you can't go wrong with mashed potatoes. No. I feel like that's good with everything.
Like bacon on the mashed potatoes, bacon and cheese?
I'm just bacon and gravy.
Bacon and gravy.
Bacon and gravy is where it's at.
Mm-hmm. My aunt, she won't eat mashed potatoes on Thanksgiving. She thinks it's a waste of space.
No.
Yeah, I totally disagree with her on it too.
Yeah.
That's I make a Thanksgiving garbage plate. Yeah. And the mashed potatoes that's what holds it together.
Yeah, that's the base.
Yeah. And fries, like curly fries or just normal
I think fries. Waffle fries are the best fries that I make.
Waffle fries are slept on.
Yep.
From Chick-fil-A waffle fries.
Yeah, they're the best.
Those are the best.
Yeah.
But yeah. Thanks for coming on the show, Ayden.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Derek Smith Spiel. If you like what you heard, follow me on Spotify by searching the Derek Smith Spiel, clicking the follow button, and hit the bell to be notified for future episodes. You could also follow me on Instagram at DerekSmithStock13. I'll have posts for my newest episodes as well as posts of baseball and football cards. If you're ever interested in purchasing a card or checking out my collection, you can check out my Collects account at Derek Smith Stock. If you ever get bored and find yourself on YouTube, check out Dylan Smith's Outdoors. to see Dylan Smith's adventures in the woods, as well as cooking videos. Last but not least, if you need your lawn or house sprayed, call Greenwood Ecologics at 585-739-1610. Now, one last time, thank you for listening. I'll catch you later.